Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome back to the Sassy Chats. I'm Bethany, aka BXSassy2 on the old Instagram. And if you're new here, then Hans, buckle up because you're in for a ride. It's not a space for small talk. We dive in deep, full of honest, vulnerable conversations, often about the things that people tend to only whisper out behind closed doors, but we're bringing it out to the forefront. And today's episode is about my sex life, part 2, porn and pleasure. This is one of those conversations that might make you feel uncomfortable. It might make you think, and it will definitely make you feel less alone in this messy, magical world that we live in. So grab a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and step inside my kinky diary. Today I'm sharing part 2 of a diary entry I submitted for the Metro, a UK newspaper, about a column for How I Do It, giving a sneak peek into a week of a person's sex and love life. This is part 2 of the real deal before it got cut up and reshaped by the editor for publications. With sprinkles of sass, I'm proud to be sharing these personal, elevated stories with you. It all feels a touch more significant and symbolic because today, the day that I share this, it was my birthday. So thank you for being here. Navigating a vanilla crush. It's Thursday. I'm having a low self-confidence day. Being a bearded woman and trying to date can be a challenge. The urge to seek reassurance and comfort from knowing people find me attractive is something that wobbles when I sense they are turned off by my hair. On days like this, I run a bath, wash my body, massage my muscles, and then set up my camera. I have done a bit of camming in the past and making commissions through sexy tapes. It's a sure way to make a passive income, knocking out a couple of self-touch love videos. So this morning I set up my camera in my bedroom, angled towards my pink fluffy rug. It's a cute setup. I made 2 videos showing off my new sets of underwear. If I can sell 2 videos, I would have made enough money to cover my purchase. Last month I made £120, which wasn't much, but it was useful to put towards pumping my heating up and staying warm this winter. The way I feel after making these videos is always very soothed. It's detached from any goal of orgasm. I rarely touch my genitals in these videos. Instead, I'm arousing myself by stroking and admiring my skin. I set the camera up in selfie mode, and I have 2 other mirrors facing me so I can watch myself as I move. It's an exercise of self-love which I've witnessed develop over the past few years. Who knew a sexy selfie would elevate my self-confidence so dramatically? I find myself incredibly hot in these moments as I prowl in front of the ring light, bending and stretching and laying as I caress my hairs and make sweet love to my body simply through eye contact. In the afternoon, I cancel on a date with a new AFAB bearded friend. Instead, I spend the evening watching Poor Things with my neighbour and go to sleep wondering if the portrayal of sex work in the film was helpful or not to the larger conversations. Food for thought. Friday. Queer community. It's changed my life. I spent the day in the company of fellow colourful kinky friends setting up an event for one of my favourite collectives, Quench. I help monitor and safeguard their events. But when I'm not working, I am boogieing around near naked and getting eaten out in the playroom. We have developed friendships as a community, and being amongst them allows me to wear my sexuality and my gender on my sleeve. No questions asked. But often we are connecting in our kinkwear, dance floors in the night, playroom to the left, bar to the right, and interactions in daylight and mist. I haven't seen them for a while because I decided to take a break from the kink scene after a deep, meaningful conversation with my father. I told him I was considering whether my social life was serving my search for a long-term love relationship. I was wanting deep, slow, meaningful connections, and what I was positioning myself in front of was tempting, hot sex kinkiness. My dad's advice was to take up hobbies in different fields so that I'd expand my net of potential. I also understand that I don't necessarily need to meet a fellow kinkster for them to accept me, As long as they are open-minded and respectful of my pansexual, non-monogamous, publicly naked self, then we can have a lot of room to groove. I guess that's my hope for my vanilla crush. Go back to part 1 if you missed that part. Talking of, I still haven't heard back from them, but that's okay. I sent them a present, orange and purple nail varnish. I've seen them wearing nail varnish before and it suits them. At the very back of my mind is the twitch of insecurity, wondering why they haven't messaged to say they received the gift, but I don't want that thought in my mind. Moving on. I'm off to Sexquisite tonight, performing arts company, platforming sex worker artists across cabaret, theatre and nightlife. Let's see what sass sparkles up my evening. Saturday. I had a delightful time yesterday seeing friends from the scene. My hope to foster relationships with fellow kinksters beyond us just bumping into each other at parties has been going really well these past couple of months. It makes such a difference knowing we have this one huge thing in common and no explanation or context is needed when I want to talk about a client's request, a recent kink experience, or a new issue I'm navigating with my identity. One of the people I saw is hosting a party on Sunday for the FLINTA community: female, lesbian, intersex, non-binary, trans and agender. They're offering femdom sessions on the night and I asked if I could book a slot. So I've emailed over the application form, which is full of questions about my fantasies, my hard and soft limits, my sexual health and previous experience. I've just filled it out and explained this will be the first time I'm playing in a long time, so I'd like no genital touch, some light impact play, and to be in a position of servitude, ideally as a body-worshipping kitty who also doubles up as a piece of furniture to be sat on. They've emailed back, it's going ahead, yippee, and we'll have a 15-minute chat before the scene starts to run through everything. I then went to visit my friends who conveniently live with my crush. I wasn't sure if they'd be there, but they were, and seeing them was lovely and relaxed. I think they're so cute. We had the longest, most comfy cuddle, which made me feel love. Turns out they hadn't opened my present. They were waiting until we saw each other, which made me feel softer. We spent the afternoon interlaced on the sofa watching Love Actually and painting their nails. I had to leave in the evening to go to the London Fetish Film Festival, but before I went they gave me another really long hug, which I loved. When I told them about what BDSM could look like on screen and answered their questions about being turned on in public settings such as a cinema. I meet my dom at the film festival and we bump into mutual friends who he plays with sometimes. I was a bit gutted he had to leave to go home. I was in the mood to be held by him all night. The films made me remember the sweet and holistic nature of kink. I was craving some of those sensations. At least I have something to look forward to tomorrow. Sunday. Oh wow, that was so much more emotional than I expected. I headed to the FLINTA kink party around 4 p.m. and now, 6 hours later and 2 big cries, I'm finally home. These environments feel like the dream slumber party. Beautiful humans dressed in lingerie and kink wear with cabinets filled with toys and other devices inviting playful exploration. It is such a relief to be in a space designed for femmes and chicks to feel sexy, be sexy and express that freely with one another. Mid-kiss with an absolute cutie, I heard someone jokingly laugh, "Oh my god, that's so gay." It felt like a reclamation, a turning point from all the homophobic jokes and teasing I had endured during adolescence. Making out with women is something I've carried so much trauma around ever since being teased at age 14 for enjoying myself too much while playing spin the bottle with my gal pals. The shame that stuck with me made me terrified of my pansexuality, embedding itself in me like a splinter. Spaces like these have become vital to my sense of liberation, places where I can reclaim my sexuality and let go of that shame. The first big cry came during my session with the house dom. It started with a check-in, a moment where I felt safe enough to be vulnerable. That safety opened the floodgates, and I let out emotions I've been holding out in for a long time. After I calmed down and got the tears out, we talked about exploring pet play and set clear boundaries for touch. Your grace reassured me that I was in control, and we practiced safe words before the scene began. I crawled, I purred, I let myself be led on a leash, weaving between people and surrendering to the gentle weight of submission. It was sexy, yes, but it was also transformative. By the end of the scene, I was crying again, a deep cathartic release that wouldn't stop until I was held and hugged through it. Who knew being a cat could feel so cathartic? And I'm going to leave you there today on that note, my darlings. If that resonated with you, if you felt seen, if you felt called out, if you felt less alone, then you need to check out my newsletter over on Substack. Every single week I share a raw, unfiltered story with visuals that bring these narratives to life. Self-portraits, mostly nude, intimate moments, the full vulnerability that you just can't get anywhere else because I don't share it anywhere else. So the link to the description is in this, and you want to be seeing the complete picture. What can I say? If you're loving the conversations, then hit subscribe on YouTube, follow along on Spotify, and share this with someone who needs to hear it, because the more we talk about this stuff, the less power shame has over us. Tomorrow we're diving into kissing women, and you're not going to want to miss it. So thank you. Stay sassy, honeys.